Hello and welcome to Talking Movies here on the French Riviera. A look at the lineup in Cannes this year revealed a very strong American presence. Not so much in the form of big-budget Hollywood blockbusters like last year's Mad Max, but more in terms of films that represent a director's personal vision. New Yorker Woody Allen was on the red carpet on opening night with Café Society. It was the third time that one of his films had got the opening night slot at Cannes, a record.
My son, he's coming to Hollywood.
The film is set in Hollywood and New York in the 1930s, and it chronicles a love triangle involving characters played by Jesse Eisenberg, Steve Carell and Kristen Stewart. Fraught male-female relationships are at the heart of this picture.
I don't think that's a very good idea, actually.
No?
I'm seeing someone.
The film, which got middling reviews, has much to commend it, particularly the performance of Kristen Stewart, playing the woman at the centre of it all. For Allen, the film represents quite an accomplishment. It's his 47th picture, and like every other, made on his own terms. Hardly anyone in the film industry has that degree of creative freedom, and he keeps going despite not being a youngster.
I feel youthful. Now, I'm sure one day I'll wake up in the morning and, you know, I'll have a stroke or something, and, you know, I'll be one of those people that you see in a wheelchair. But until that happens, I was gonna continue to make films.
Money Monster, which could be called a financial thriller, was launched at Cannes too, replete with its cast, which included George Clooney and Julia Roberts.
Anyone who can get out right now.
It's the story of a disgruntled young man, nicely played by Jack O'Connell, who holds the TV financial guru Lee Gates hostage because he's followed Gates' advice and lost a lot of money. Julia Roberts is the show's producer. The film seems to be a critique of greed-driven financial capitalism and US factual television.
What happens is, in a 24-hour news cycle, we'll keep hearing this drumbeat of, you know, these things, these elements, and you'll start going, oh my God, the world's coming to an end. ISIS is going to be on our front step. You know, when the reality is, it needs to be put back in perspective.
At the helm of this production was one-time child star turned Oscar-winning actress Jodie Foster, who has directed before, but nothing quite so big. She proves herself adept as a filmmaker.
Being a director's always been my dream. It's the thing that I've always wanted since I was a little girl. To have the full vision of the film and to have my signature be the one for good, for better or for worse. Maybe it's terrible, but it's a full signature on the product.
Money Monster borrows from previous films, most notably the classic Dog Day Afternoon. It isn't terrifically original. It also has a plot that becomes a little preposterous. But after all, this film is entertainment, despite it being sold as something more serious.
But I don't know who to trust. They're stealing everything from us and they're getting away with it too. How's that even fair?
March, we're gonna play a game.
I think you're in the wrong house.
Another American offering starring Russell Crowe and Ryan Gosling and directed by Shane Black was the buddy comedy Nice Guys, set in Los Angeles in the 1970s, with Crowe and Gosling playing private detectives. It was popular with audiences but showed signs of being a tired product. The leading men seemed to lack chemistry, and it felt like a project conceived to meet commercial imperatives rather than anything more original. Some of the best American films at Cannes were more modest, with less promotional noise attached. Case in point, Loving. Based on real events, it tells the story of an interracial couple, Richard and Mildred Loving, in Virginia in the 1950s, at a time when the state banned mixed-race marriages. The couple's case went to the Supreme Court, and they won with a landmark ruling striking down laws forbidding interracial marriage. There are no histrionics in this film, no big speeches. It's very effective, despite being quite restrained.
Would you marry me?
The beneficial thing of this story is that it isn't trying to preach, because the Lovings weren't trying to preach. I think the way to communicate with people that disagree with you is to talk about humans, to talk about the humanity in an issue. And that's what I think the Loving story provides.
Taken overall, the American movies at Cannes were pretty good. Even the more commercial ones show that auteur filmmaking, the possibility that a director's personal vision will prevail, is still alive, which is, of course, no bad thing. Here at the UK Pavilion in Cannes, people are very well aware that there are 2 British films in competition this year. Both of them put together by directors who work in the social realist tradition. One of them is set in Newcastle upon Tyne in the northeast of England, and the other, rather interestingly, in the United States. The American set film American Honey had its cast and British director Andrea Arnold dancing on the red carpet. The film focuses on the adventures of Star, played beautifully by Sasha Lane, who joins a rootless group of young people travelling from one Midwestern community to another, selling magazine subscriptions. Star has a tempestuous relationship with the intense Jake, portrayed by Shia LaBeouf. It's the story of a young girl, complete with a brilliant soundtrack and cinematography. It's an American road movie of sorts.
The mag crew on the bus selling is a small potted version of the American dream. It's their, they're trying to make their version of the American dream. They're trying to make a living for themselves, and they're, working hard at selling themselves, which is, what capitalism is all about, right?
I'm sorry, look, but you're going to have to...
all right, thank you. Take your hands off me. I'm going to speak to the manager. I don't want to speak to you.
The other British film came from veteran director Ken Loach. I, Daniel Blake, is the story of 2 individuals who find themselves pushed to extremes by an uncaring state. Daniel Blake, played expertly by Dave Johns, is the central character, who's not well but encounters a bureaucratic nightmare in trying to get benefits. It's a total indictment of the social welfare system in the UK, which is depicted as being totally heartless. Ken Loach shares that view.
There is a conscious cruelty in the way we're organising our lives now, where the most vulnerable people are told that their poverty is their own fault. If you have no work, it's your fault you haven't got a job.
Loach's film earned strong reviews, and it showed that this 79-year-old director has still got it in him to make powerful, emotional, relevant cinema.
Now you can go back to your desk and let us sign on and do the job that the taxpayer pays you for.
Once again, the lack of